person in the office of the priest would have to be a descendant of Aaron. That's correct, right? A direct descendant of Aaron. So at this time, you have Aaron and his 4 sons. So at this point in time, there's only, or there will be when they get ordained and all, only 5 priests. So I just thought that was interesting that from these 5, and actually they lose 2 very quickly. So there'll only be like 3 priests at the very beginning. So verse 1, excuse me. And take thou unto thee Aaron thy brother and his sons with him from among the children of Israel, that he may minister unto me in the priest office, even Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar, Aaron's sons. And thou shalt make holy garments for Aaron thy brother, for glory and for beauty. So this word, most of you probably have heard, glory is kavod, beauty is tiferet. I find it interesting that they make these garments for glory and for beauty. And thou shalt speak unto all that are wise-hearted, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, that they may make Aaron's garments to consecrate him, that he may minister unto me in the priest office. And these are the garments which they shall make: a breastplate, an ephod, a robe, a broidered coat, or it's really more like a tunic, a mitre, or some versions say turban, and a girdle, although most modern versions say a sash. Girdle's a little archaic. And they shall make holy garments for Aaron thy brother and his sons, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And they shall take gold and blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen. So I'm going to share a picture, then Ward's going to share a picture, kind of showing. So the breastplate is this here thing there with the, can you guys see my pointer too? When I pointed to this?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So this is the breastplate. Ward's going to show a picture where it's kind of going around the body of the high priest. But it says there's 4 rows of 3. And of each stone, and we'll look into those later. I'm just kind of want to show you where everything is. This thing here that's right underneath the breastplate would be the ephod. The blue garment here with the tassels on there, the pomegranates and the bells, that would be the robe, and underneath that would be the tunic of checkered work or embroidered work. So, and then later in the chapter, he talks about the undergarments that they wear. So they have undergarments, tunic, the robe, the ephod, the breastplate, and then the sash that goes around, and then the turban with the plate on it. So I'm going to stop. And Ward, why don't you show the picture that you got there?
Okay, let me share it here. So this is just a rough draft that I made in Blender, a 3D modeling program, showing the stones worn on a band around his chest area and going all the way around. So no matter which way it faces, there's always some stones facing the Holy of Holies.
Yeah,
And then we have the colors here and the colors here, those that you just read, the gold and the scarlet and the different colors. And then on the shoulder are are cylinder seals. There's a cylinder seal on each shoulder. Half the names of the tribes are on one cylinder seal and half the names on the other cylinder seal, I believe, off the top of my head. But the names of the tribes are in there.
6 and 6.
So it's kind of a rough draft of what it would look like. That's again more like that's a band, like the band of the constellations in the heavens. So this is mimicking the 12 constellations, in the sky. So just another way of looking at it.
Okay.
Back to you.
Okay. So the first one we'll look at is the ephod. Now, I don't know if these are in order of importance. You have the ephod, the breastplate, the robe, and then the coat or the tunic of fine linen. So verse 6, they shall make an ephod of gold, of blue, and of purple, of scarlet, and fine twined linen with cunning work. And this is the same word cunning we looked at before with that curtain. Hoshev, remember that word we talked about it last week? It shall have 2 shoulder pieces thereof joined at the 2 edges thereof, and so it shall be joined together. So this picture, you can't really see it, but Ward's was a little more clear. The 2, like, almost like epaulets on his shoulders. And the curious girdle, or the sash, of the ephod, which is upon it, shall be of the same according to the work thereof, even of gold, of blue, of purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. So you can kind of, there's a sash here, you can kind of see it has the same colors as the ephod, the blue, the purple, the gold. And thou shalt take 2 onyx stones, engraved on them the names of the children of Israel, 6 of their names on one stone, and the other 6 names on the rest of the other stone, according to their birth. So the first 6 sons would be, and I would guess if you're standing facing, if the Almighty is standing looking at you, if you read left to right, the first 6 names would be on his left shoulder, and the second 6 names on his right shoulder. So on the first stone, you'd have Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, and Naphtali. And then second stone would be Gad, Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, and Benjamin. I did that from memory, not too bad. With the work of an engraver in stone, like the engravings of a signet, thou shalt engrave the 2 stones with the names of the children of Israel. Thou shalt make them to be set in ouches of gold. When I first read this, I was like, ouches of gold, what is that? A misprint, but apparently that is a real word. But like I say, some of these words are kind of archaic. So I actually looked it up just to make sure. In the dictionary, the I have never seen that before. Ouch. An exclamation expressing sudden pain. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong definition. Ouch. Archaic, a clasp, buckle, or brooch, especially one worn for ornament, the setting of a precious stone. So that is a real word that means it is a setting for a stone. So kudos to you, John.
So the interesting thing about these two sets of stones is it's the same setting that's in our portion this week, our Torah portion. The two mountains are like the two shoulders, and you've got 6 on one mountain, 6 on the other, just like we have 6 stones on one shoulder, 6 on the other. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. Although I don't think they're divided by age, are they? I think they're more like their designations in the when they live in the wilderness. So Ward, when you in your picture that that setting like in the gold setting, is that what you were saying was like a cylinder?
Right, the cylinder seal,
Yeah,
which had the
made
name.
of gold, right?
It's set in gold, and the cylinder seal itself is made of stone, so it's engraved in stone and set in a
Yeah.
gold thing on the shoulder that holds it. You know, and the cylinder seal can be rolled out, and you know it into clay or whatever, and it puts down the names of the tribes.
Right. And your picture shows a bigger stone. I guess you would probably need a bigger stone to get all the names in there.
Yeah.
And thou shalt put the 2 stones upon the shoulders of the ephod for stones of memorial unto the children of Israel. And Aaron shall bear their names before Yahweh upon his 2 shoulders for a memorial. And thou shalt make ouches of gold. Some postmodern translations would say filigrees, and 2 chains of pure gold at the ends of wreathed work shalt thou make them, and fasten the wreath chains to the ouches. So this word for the ephod, I kind of looked into it a little bit. This ephod, if you look anywhere in the Torah, when it refers to an ephod, it is referring to the ephod of the high priest. And he was the only one who actually wore an ephod of this. All the other priests who were in service in the sanctuary did not wear the ephod. And so there's actually some uses of the word where it could be, it talks about how David wore an ephod when he was dancing, when they were bringing the ark back, he wore a linen ephod. There's a verse in 1 Samuel, it's 1 Samuel 2:18 that talks about when Samuel was a boy. It says he was a boy wearing a linen ephod ministering in the sanctuary. But in some cases, like in Judges, it seems to be more of like, kind of like, because one of the definitions I found in Strong's was that it could be an image. The main definition is the ephod of the high priest's shoulder piece, but also generally an image. Say in Judges chapter 8, this is about Gideon. Then the men of Israel said to Gideon, rule over us and your son and your grandson also, for you have saved us from the hand of Midian. Gideon said to them, I will not rule over you, not my son, and my son will not rule over you. Yahweh will rule over you. And Gideon said to them, let me make a request of you. Every one of you give me earrings from his spoil. For they had golden earrings because they were Ishmaelites. And they answered, we will willingly give you them. And they spread a cloak, and every man threw in it the earrings with the spoil. And the weight of the golden earrings that he requested was 1,700 shekels of gold, besides the crescent ornaments and the pendants and the purple garments worn by the kings of Midian, besides the collars that are around the necks of their camels. And Gideon made an ephod of it and put it in his city in Ophrah. And all of Israel poured after it there, and it became a snare to Gideon and his family. So there's a few, and most of these cases occur in Judges where Gideon makes, in this case, Gideon makes an ephod, and it kind of becomes a symbol of idolatry. So that was just like one of the kind of offshoot meanings of the word ephod. But for the most part, it is just a garment worn by priests, and the main one is the high priest garment. So, any questions, comments? So also these stones on the shoulders are called the stones of remembrance. I think in here he calls them memorial. The ESV I have calls it for remembrance. So when the high priest goes in, he's seeing the names of the sons of Israel. It's a remembrance to him. And, we know he doesn't need to remember them, but that's what he wants to see. So.
And I think that word memorial, zikaron, is the same word used for the feast dates for us.
Yeah, it is Zechariah. Okay. So next on the list is the breastplate, and it's called the breastplate of judgment. And the word for breastplate in the Hebrew is this word hoshen. So it would be called hoshen mishpat, breastplate of judgment. And this word, it only occurs when it's referring to the breastplate of the high priest. You won't find it anywhere else in the Tanakh or in the Torah for that matter, unless it absolutely refers to the breastplate of the high priest. And thou shalt make the breastplate of judgment with cunning work. And once again, it's that word cunning, hoshev. After the work of the ephod, thou shalt make it of gold, of blue, of purple, of scarlet, fine twined linen. Thou shalt make it. Foursquare shall be doubled, a span shall be the length thereof, the span shall be the breadth thereof. So this is where they kind of get that square. A span is about your hand width, or height, roughly about 9 inches. I'm not sure what it means when it says being doubled. Maybe that's 9 inches one way, 9 the other. 9 square. That would make sense. And thou shalt set it in settings of stone, even 4 rows of stone. The first row shall be a sardis, a topaz, a carbuncle. This shall be the first row. The second row shall be an emerald, a sapphire, a diamond. Third row, a ligure, an agate, and an amethyst. And the fourth row, a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. They shall be set in gold in their enclosings. And it's not absolutely certain if all these translations are correct. Because if you were to look in the Hebrew, some people, Odam, Mitzvah, Market. So who knows, you know? They could be, different people have different ideas about exactly what these stones are in reality. I was reading something about how the color could indicate which tribe is assigned to which stone. That's another area of discussion. People know, because it doesn't really say the order of the son of Jacob, you know, it just says a stone represents a son, right? So anybody have any thoughts on that or know anything more about that?
I think we've mentioned before that inside the tabernacle near the Holy of Holies, where the light is coming out from the ark, that polarized light coming out would make those stones light up and be pretty dazzling.
Yeah.
When they're being hit by that light. And then also the 4 rows. So this goes back to the idea of the compass. On the model I showed, the band going around the priest is in 4 sections, the 4 quadrants of the compass, and connected
each.
together by gold rings. So you have 4 rows of 3,
Yeah,
but they're going around,
right.
arranged in a grid.
Yeah, I think they get that just reading that being 4 square, doubled, who knows? And the stones shall be with the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of the signet. Every one with his name they shall be according to the 12 tribes. So when the priest goes into the tabernacle, and especially when he goes into the Holy of Holy, he's representing the entire nation of Israel. All 12 tribes are represented when he walks in there. And thou shalt make upon the breastplate chains at the ends of wreath work of pure gold. And thou shalt make upon the breastplate 2 rings of gold, and thou shalt put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. And thou shalt put the 2 wreathed chains of gold in the 2 rings which are on the ends of the breastplate. And the other 2 ends of the 2 wreathed chains thou shalt fasten in the 2 ouches, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. So it's attached to the shoulder pieces, so it's not going to fall off. And they shall make 2 rings of gold, and thou shalt put them upon the 2 ends of the breastplate, in the border thereof, which is in the side of the ephod inward. And 2 other rings of gold thou shalt make, and shalt put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath, toward the forward part, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. It's an interesting description. Curious girdle.
The side of the ephod inward, that's describing underneath the armpits on the side.
Oh, okay.
On the side.
Or the part thereof, or against the coupling. Where was that? Verse 26. Is this here, which is
26.
in the side of the ephod? Okay, yeah, that would make sense. And they shall bind the breastplate by the rings thereof unto the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it may be above the curious girdle. I have to see what this version says, how it translates curious girdle. It's verse 28.
And also take a look at that word girdle, because what does a girdle do? It goes around the body.
Yeah. Well, the girdle is the same thing as the sash.
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of an archaic word. Let me see what this is.
Which verse is the girdle?
This, oh, here it is. Maybe above the curious girdle. Hashem.
Verse 27.
Which one?
27.
Oh, the ESV says skillfully woven band. ephod. So, but Hoshev, I think that's the same word as the we were looking at before, the what was that word? This is Hoshev.
Which word? What?
The word where it said instead of skilled, it says cunning.
Oh, cunning, yeah.
Yep. Well, this is Hoshev. And this one would have been Meshev. So just a difference of vowel pointing. Cunning, curious. Okay. Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel in the breastplate of judgment upon his heart when he goes into the holy place for a memorial before Yahweh continually. So it's interesting that he's wearing this breastplate, whether it's in front of him or around him, it's upon his heart because it's going around his upper chest. And thou shalt put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be upon Aaron's heart when he goes in before Yahweh. And Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel upon his heart before Yahweh continually. So let's talk about Urim and Thummim a bit because it's uncertain exactly what they are, but it Urim is actually the plural of the word Ura, the word for light, and Thummim is the plural of the word for perfections. So
Plural for what?
perfections. So perfection, which is
Are you-
Torah.
Are you gonna mention what the Greek word means for both of those?
I don't know, but if you want to, go ahead.
So the Urim, the Greek word means revelation, and the Greek word for Thummim is truthfulness, truth.
Right.
So it's like revelation of truth. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I mean, you have light.
Because when they go in there and seek God's decision, they're basically getting a revelation of truth.
Yeah,
He's going to tell them what they're supposed to do.
and you could say truth is perfection, and revelation is light. So these two words, Urim is only used 7 times Tumen is used 5 times. They're only used 4 times together. This is the first time that they're used. And it's kind of interesting because if you think of light and perfection in general, I mean, you could say, well, I have a light, I have some lights. But if there's light, like when it says he created light, you don't, at least in our English font, we don't think of it in the plurality, right? But it does have a precedent if you think of the word Elohim. Go ahead, Mark.
Lisa will like this. In First Esdras 5:40, it says, Nehemiah and Hathrais told them that they were not to share in the holy things until a high priest should arise, wearing the explanation and truth.
Right,
That's the same Greek words for revelation and truth, the Urim and Thummim. So it is in another piece of text in the Greek. It's in First Esdras 5:40.
right. So I was saying in the word Elohim, we know Elohim is the plural for Elohai, gods, right? But it's also used to refer to the Almighty God of Israel. He is the Elohim. This kind of has the same idea where we don't really find these words in the plural, except only in the case when it's referring to these 2 items. And there was there was something tangible that was held in the breastplate. We don't really know what these things were, but it was used, I mean, as far up as Ezra's day, as Mark was saying, and probably even beyond that. So what they were, we don't know, but it was, it must have been something to actually been able to utilize these things in making judgments. So when it says Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel upon his heart. So when he's in the holy place, he has these items which bear judgment. So they were used to call on the will of Yahweh and find out what his ruling would be in whatever matter they were like. Any other comments on that? Kind of an interesting idea. It would be a great study just on its own about the Urim and the Thummim. Okay, we'll press on.
Gwendolyn has her hand up.
Oh, go ahead, Gwen.
Hi, Mike. As you was talking, and this was just a thought, it was kind of interesting when like all the things that you're saying, like the gold and the stones, they all, like, when I think of in the world, they always have value and that they're precious. And so when you were saying, the thought that came to me is that each tribe was a special, like a special gem, and that had value, and it was covered over his heart. And so it made me think that when we say that we are precious in his sight, like that, because that gives us our value and our worth, and that we are precious to him. And it's symbolized by those stones that the priests wear. And how when he said on his shoulder, I don't know exactly where it's at, but it said that Yeshua came to bear something about the weight of it as a shoulder. And I'm just learning more and more about it as Mark is teaching us about the priesthood and the kingship and things like that.
Right.
How, because it's important to me. I know you guys really study, but I just have to make it real simple. I try to make it apply to me, like whatever the symbol means. Like if it's a stone and it has value, then that tells me that I'm precious and I'm having value, that I'm in his heart, like that's the way I look at it. And so that's how the thought came to me. And that when he bear things up over his shoulder, I think it says the government shall be upon his head or whatever, is all these things that the priest wore is showing us that how we have our full armor is given to us. Like we're not left here garmentless. Like we have things that he's given us that is just as precious.
Yeah. I think that's in Isaiah somewhere. It doesn't
Amen.
say like the weight of the government shall be upon his shoulder. Something like that. Yeah. Thank you, Glenn.
Isaiah
That's-
9:6.
What is it?
Isaiah 9:6.
Oh, okay. Isaiah 9:6. Thanks, John.
Was reading this commentary is talking about how Christ, because the Septuagint calls it explanation and truth instead of revelation and truth.
Mm-hmm.
So this commentary talks about how Christ came to explain the truth. And so it's kind of interesting. So was Yeshua the likened to this oracle device of Urim and Thummim? He came to explain the truth like the Urim and Thummim did on the breastplate, telling us, by being an example of the way to go and how to live, and which is what that device did. They came and they sought decisions
Yeah.
when they couldn't make a decision. So I thought it's kind of interesting, because he did say that I am the truth, the way, and the life. And literally, he did come and explain all things to us.
Yeah. And if you look at the spelling, Olive Tav.
Uh,
Thummim.
yeah, that's good.
So yeah, there's a connection there definitely, but it's called the breastplate of judgment. So, and he will be the ultimate judge. So yeah, that's good. Let's see, where did we leave off here? Verse 31. And
The
thou
other thing,
shalt- oh, go ahead.
the other thing about Urim is it's the Aleph Vav Resh Yod Mem. So the Aleph Vav Resh is literally talking about the Resh is the head, the head, or the first,
Uh-huh.
and which is who he is, and then you have the Aleph being the the strength, and the Vav is likened to the nail, or it's the thing that holds it together. Yeah, that's pretty cool about the Urim.
Verse 31. And thou shalt make the robe of the ephod olive blue. There shall be a hole in the top of it, in the midst thereof. It shall have a binding of woven work around about the whole of it, as it were the whole of a habergeon. Is that like a haberdasher? That it may not be rent. So this garment was one piece, kind of like almost like a poncho, right? Where you just kind of put it over your head. And it could not be torn.
No seam.
So there was a high priest who did rent his garment, and that was Caiaphas. Did you have a comment, Mark?
I was gonna say, so you're saying no seam.
No seam, right?
Yeah, I had a lady make me one of those. I don't know how they do it, but I don't know if Gwen has her hand up again, but I see her.
She might have just left it up. Gwen, do you have another question, comment? And beneath upon the hem of it, thou shalt make pomegranates of blue, of purple, of scarlet, round about the hem thereof, and bells of gold between them round about. A golden bell and a pomegranate, a golden bell and a pomegranate on the hem of the robe round about. So around the entire circumference of the hem, they would have pomegranate and alternate pomegranate bell, pomegranate bell. And it shall be upon Aaron to minister, and his sound shall be heard when he goeth to a holy place before Yahweh. When he comes out, that he not die. So he had these bells on. So when he's in the Holy of Holies, the priests who are outside just in the holy place could hear him moving about. So if he were to stop moving and don't hear the bells anymore, you might surmise that he's died. And that was the reason for the bells, right? And thou shalt make a plate of pure gold, engrave upon it. And this word plate is this word zitz. It's half a zitzi. A plate of zitz of pure gold, engrave upon it, like the engravings of a signet. Holiness to Yahweh. And they shall put it on a blue lace, that it may be upon the mitre. Upon the forefront of the mitre it shall be. And it shall be upon Aaron's forehead, that Aaron may bear the iniquity of the holy things, which the children of Israel shall hallow in all their holy gifts. And it shall be always upon his forehead, that they may be accepted before Yahweh. So this plate of pure gold is zitz, would it be on the front of his turban or his mitre? So it's basically on his forehead. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
I was just gonna say that the word for hem, shul, is found in Isaiah 6:1. It says, in the year of King Uzziah's death, I saw Yahweh sitting on a throne, lofty and exalted, with the shul train of his robe filling the temple. So the same thing that the pomegranate and the bell is on, this is the word for train in Isaiah 6:1. So this would have to be high priest kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. So Aaron, he can bear the iniquity of the holy things, because when the children of Israel, they come and they give their gifts, but he has this insignia on his forehead, holiness to Yahweh. So he's set apart as the high priest to perform this function where he can bear the iniquity of the holy things, which is a pretty interesting concept. I haven't quite figured it all out yet, but so it's kind of like the scripture in Deuteronomy 6, where it says you have the totafot between your eyes, or the tefillin between your eyes. So this plate it's on his forehead and literally between his eyes, right? So any comments, questions?
I was just gonna say they found a bell in the southern end where they were digging, where the steps go up on the southern end of the Temple Mount. You follow the steps down to where the city of David starts. there was a parking lot there and they started digging, and underneath that area, they found the bell that the high priest would have been with. Kind of interesting.
Do you have any idea how large the bell was? Probably not very large, huh?
Yeah, I don't remember what the size was. But they shook it, and only the believers in Yeshua could hear it ring. No, I'm just kidding. Uh,
So remember at the very beginning, it says these were all made for glory and for beauty. So these pomegranates and bells and all the embroidery work must have been quite glorious to look at. I'm sure it was very, even probably just a picture like this doesn't really even do it justice. But here you can see the pomegranates, bell, pomegranate, just rotating, alternating all the way around this, which would be the robe. And so the robe was made of one piece, seamless. Not sure about the tunic. Could have been. But remember when Yeshua, they gambled for his clothes, but his outer garment was one piece. So they gambled to see who would get that.
so it kind of looks multicolored, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, pomegranates, I think it says the pomegranates were the pomegranate, this is a color to it.
How many seeds are in
The
the pomegranate?
pomegranates also had blue, purple, and scarlet. Yeah. So there was blue, purple, and scarlet throughout in the pomegranates, the pod, the sash.
How many seeds are on the pomegranate?
I don't know.
So we had
Is it
someone,
603?
we had someone,
613?
we had someone cut one open one year and they counted it and it was exactly 613. And
That's what
and remember the wheat stalk has 50 kernels in it, the Shavuot kind of thing. So kind of interesting how some of this stuff. Now I'm not saying every pomegranate has 613, but the one that was cut open, it did have 613.
there are a lot of seeds in there.
Yeah.
Okay, did we read all through here? We did. And thou shalt embroider the coat of fine linen, and thou shalt make the mitre of fine linen, and thou shalt make the girdle of needlework, the girdle being the sash. So the coat or the sash, that would be the white thing, the turban or the mitre, and then the sash. And for Aaron's sons, thou shalt make coats, and thou shalt make them for them girdles and bonnets. Now that's very archaic. Nothing meant to be wearing bonnets, but shalt thou make for them for glory and for beauty. So all the proceeding was for the high priest, just the regular everyday priests. They didn't wear an ephod, so they would have a sash. Actually, I think the word, yeah, it's not the same word. The ESV says cap. Migbaot, which isn't the same as the turban would be a mitzvot. So I was wondering when I was reading this, I was reading it in the ESV, it says cap I wonder if maybe the cap was one of those, kippas that they wear. And then the turban was only for the high priest. Thou shalt put them upon Aaron thy brother. So Aaron would have worn one of these caps for bonnets also. So they all wore the tunic, the sash, and the cap.
John has his hand up.
Go ahead, John.
The word for coats, ketonet,
Ketonet, yeah.
that's first used in Genesis 3:21. And Adam also and his wife did the Lord make coats of skins and clothe them. Another example is
Is
now,
Joseph also another
loved
example?
Joseph more than all of his children because he was the son of his old age, and he made a coat of many colors.
Which is the word coat?
on verse
Ketonet.
40?
Verse 40.
Yeah. And for the sons, Joseph made coats,
Yeah,
ketonet.
Ketonet. Ketonet, yeah.
It's interesting that this is the attire of priests. And if you see there in 41 or in 40, that they're wearing caps. And if you read, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, when they were getting ready to get thrown in the fiery furnace, it explicitly said that they removed their caps. So if the priesthood is wearing some kind of a head garment, whether it's a cap or whatever, this is one of the reasons I was impressed 19 years ago to wear a head covering the rest of my life.
Mhm. You think maybe it would have been like I think they call them a kippah? Or,
Well, the Jews wear a kippah, but it's cap is a cap. It's a head covering.
yeah.
And yeah, so it's very interesting.
And thou shalt put them upon Aaron thy brother and his sons with him, and shall anoint them, consecrate them, and sanctify them, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office. So, see, when I was going through the ESV, it actually said, in verse 41, anoint them, ordain them, and consecrate them. I guess sanctify could be ordained. So anoint is this mashakta, which will get Mashiach, Moshiach, same root, mem, shin, het, will get Mashiach,
Mashak.
Mashak, yeah. Sanctify, this is the Kedesh, Kedeshet, Kedeshta, Kodesh, that's make holy. What was the other one?
The Kedashta.
Sanctify, accomplish. No.
It's kind of like Kiddush, right? Like
Well,
the
there was
Kiddush.
anoint, consecrate, and sanctify. Where's the consecrate?
It's the sanctify.
Okay.
Like Kiddush, when you do Kiddush at the
Yeah.
so it's the Kedashta.
Well, what I found, the ordain, now I don't know if I actually read in my Hebrew interlinear that, well, you have anoint, mashach. The ordain in the Hebrew was fill the hands of them, and this was consecrated, kadosh. So I'm a little confused by this here.
I'm not, yeah, on my Hebrew Bible, it's not showing up.
Yeah,
You can see it in the blue letter Bible though. That one's messed up.
Yeah, it's in my text, it is V'kedashta.
yeah. In the ESV,
Oh.
it has it. It says anoint them, which would be the mashach.
Yeah,
Consecrate is in the Hebrew, fill the hands of them.
yeah, fill the hands. It's
And sanctify is
V'mashachta,
consecrate.
V'mashachta.
Accomplish is the word in King James.
Accomplish.
Yeah, what verse we on? Yeah. Huh.
Okay.
Well, I'm saying that,
Okay.
yeah, my King James and my interlinear thing aren't matching up. It says the word accomplish. And you look at that drop down there, word number 11.
This one, yeah. Mileta.
Strong's number 4390, H 4390.
Yeah. Yeah, this is it. Mileta et yadam. Fill their hands. That's what it
So
means.
the interesting thing about the word ordain, Malay is the word that's used for ple'eru, and another word, which is implicius, both mean to fulfill,
Yeah.
ordain, fulfill. And so, when I see stuff like that, I often wonder, I didn't come to abolish the law, I came to, to fulfill, did he come to ordain? Who's he coming to ordain? Is he coming to ordain the new consecrated ones that are coming into the kingdom? Kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
So are you looking at the Strong's number? Is that the same number in the Matthew 5:17?
I can't, it's not the same ple'eru,
Okay.
although it is from a root. But both mean the same thing, to fulfill,
Yeah.
or to fill
So not
full.
do away with.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of saying he's going to fulfill his purpose through his priests.
And wouldn't that
That has
require
something
an
to do with
ordination?
ordination.
Yeah. And who's he ordaining? Well, for sure, the 12 apostles.
Yeah. I mean, he ordains us too, right? As
Yep.
individual believers.
Says that he sanctified us. So that's exactly the word he's using here for consecrate. And as it says in the New Testament, we are a kingdom of priests. Well, that means we had to be consecrated. We had to be ordained. We had to be fulfilled. Had to have the hands full.
Yep.
Yeah, and as we are kind of like studying out what the priesthood is, the Melchizedek order and the Levitical order, it's starting to make more sense now, because in order for us to understand the Melchizedek order, there had to have been maybe like an ordainment or a fulfillment of understanding the Torah as priests and kings to teach others. I'm starting to get kind of a little bit more of an understanding of it. So ordain or fulfill would make sense.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is
All right. So, let's see. Okay, only one more part to read here. Thou shalt make them linen breeches to cover their nakedness, from the loins even unto the thighs they shall reach. So this is the sixth piece of clothing, which is the undergarment, and basically it's just like underwear, right? From the loins to the thighs. So he doesn't want any possibility of nakedness in his sanctuary, in his holy place, as opposed to the pagan way, which was just rife with nakedness and debauchery. He doesn't want any of that. So they were required, almost in a sense, this is almost the most important thing they had to put on. They had to put this on first. And it, as we'll see in the next chapter, next week, they had to bathe with water before they even would put on all these garments. They shall be upon Aaron and upon his sons when they come in unto the tabernacle of the congregation, or when they come near unto the altar to minister in the holy place, that they bear not iniquity and die. Shall be a statute forever unto him and his seed after him. So do you think that these statutes of the priestly garments are still in standing today?
Well, the interesting thing is, since nothing ever, I mean, he ends it here forever, statute forever.
Yeah.
I don't see anything terminating at any point in the time of history. So if this is what priests wear, it would make sense.
Yeah. So anybody, before we close, have any closing comments or questions?
I have a technical question.
Okay.
Is everybody else having a hard time hearing Mike? The sound is not very good quality.
No, I hear him fine.
Not on my end.
You don't hear me well?
Yes, I
For
have
some
trouble
reason, it
hearing.
sounds
It's
really
very
good on mine.
low volume on my end.
Okay, well, I'm sorry about that.
Well, I don't know, is it just the mic or is
I
it?
think it's the mic. Not this mic, that mic.
The MIC?
We gotta talk to Ward and see about getting you a better mic.
Yeah.
I have a question or a thought.
Go for it.
A question or a thought?
Yeah, I have a question
Or a thought?
and maybe a thought. So the priestly garments that we're talking about, is it possible that there are actual physical garments that are woven with linen and colors and put on in a certain order? Do you think that it's possible? And then obviously there are garments that are forever because it states it in his word. Is it possible that those garments kind of transcend from a physical, like, the actual material into as we obtain, that higher sense of righteousness, a higher understanding of righteousness, that it ends up becoming more spiritual garments, because his word also describes the garments as like the robe of righteousness, or the garment of something else. I can't think of all of them, but I think there are several allusions to actual garments that are conceptual, divinely conceptual.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think you're right, because he says he has clothed me in robes of righteousness.
Yep.
Isaiah 61:10.
Yes. 'Cause, 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 'cause,
Yeah, so what would that be? If he's clothed me with garments of salvation, and it's the same word, garment is the same beged word for in this, in the word here for garment in this portion. And if he's clothed me in garments of salvation, and he's wrapped me in robes of righteousness, as a bridegroom decks himself with a garland, and as a bride adorns herself with her jewels, what are those things? Since they haven't changed, he's already told us what they are. So very good point, Lisa.
Very good, Lisa. Anybody else? If not, I will.
It's also it also says in Job 29, I put on righteousness and it clothed me. My justice was like a robe and a turban, a head garment.
Nice. And then also, I maybe perhaps that's what it means by going from glory to glory.
Ah, love it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Love it. Very nice.
Anyone else?
Maybe we should.
I will.
So what you're saying is we should look the part and not just act the part.
Yes.
That's right. And by the way, I do think it's possible that only the Israel heard the bells ringing. Wasn't there something where everybody else heard thunder, but the ones that were close to Yahweh actually heard his voice?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Hey, Lisa, there actually could be something to that. And Mike, same thing, because after World War II, 9,000 bells were destroyed for a reason. All the big bells, look around, you'll never see them anymore.
I mean, like church bells and
All of them, every country on this planet.
really?
I think it was 9,000 in 1946, 47. They destroyed 9,000 bells. That's crazy. So maybe
Wow.
it's true. The
Wow.
path is short, right? It's not wide. So it could be just a
Interesting.
thought.
That's interesting.
Good stuff.
Okay, I'm going to close in prayer, and then if you want to hang around, feel free. And if you don't, feel free to. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much. Just looking at the priestly garments, Father, and the significance and what they mean for us. Father, we thank you so much for the reading of your word. Father, thank you for all the comments today, Father, and people chiming in. We thank you for all these things in Yeshua's name. Amen.